Ramgirdhari Prabhu ji by Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu ji. Hare Bo. To you.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padayam Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedantam Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadato sankirtanaika pitarau Kamalayatakshau Vishwambarau Dvijabarau Yugadharma Palau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavatarau. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been very merciful to all the people of Kali Yuga. He distributed the pure love of Godhead to each and every one, including those who apparently were not qualified to receive them in the first place. And Vasudeva Ghosh, he sings in his song Jai Jai Jagannath Sachira Nandan. He says, Jai Gaura, say Krishna, say Jagannath. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, has appeared as his devotee to teach us and to preach the science of Krishna consciousness. He is non-different from Jagannath, and he is Krishna himself. So on 1st of July, we have Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani's Rath Yatra, which is going to be celebrated all over the world. Srila Prabhupada bestowed very special mercy upon us by revealing both Gauranga Mahaprabhu as well as Lord Jagannath. Had Srila Prabhupada not revealed both of them to us, I don't know what about people in the Western world, but even people in India would have not understood them as we have got some understanding now. Even now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the history books he is recorded as a historical great scholar, and Jagannath as deity within Orissa and Bhubaneswar, and they are portraying him as a regional god. But Srila Prabhupada gave us a very broad and a clear perspective about who is Jagannath and who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Jagannath Rath Yatra cannot be celebrated without glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 11 long years exclusively living in Jagannath Puri, glorifying the Supreme Lord, delivering his associates, and keeping that as a head office for his preaching mission. So we are going to discuss a very small portion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela in Jagannath Puri, which is very interesting. At the same time, it will help us to understand some mood as well as the perspective in which we are supposed to function as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So I would like to specially extend my heartfelt thanks to Harilila Prabhu to have considered me to do this service. And it's always a pleasure to connect back with devotees, discuss Krishna Katha, and glorify the Lord and his devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, has already accepted Jagannath Puri as his headquarters or main quarters on the request of his mother Sachi Mata. Originally, he was planning to be in Vrindavan, but Sachi Mata personally requested that please don't be too far away from me. Even though you will not be with me, Jagannath Puri is mere maika hai. It is my mother's, hometown. So at least I will feel your presence in some capacity. So Mahaprabhu, to honor such a request, he chose to live in Jagannath Puri along with his associates. So Gadadhar Pandit, Nityananda Prabhu, several devotees, they were assisting Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. And recently, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he relinquished his false understanding about Siddhanta and surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And very soon, he climbed up the ladder in the hierarchy and became a very close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To an extent, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife at a parental level. So one day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose to go to South India. It is a tradition that a sannyasi, generally, there are 4 types of sannyas: Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajagacharya, and Paramahamsa. And this is actually gradation in terms of renunciation. Kutichaka means after Vanaprastha, a sannyasi choose to reside in a small hut, relinquishing all the comforts, giving up his family life, including his wife, who was accompanying him as a Vanaprastha, and eventually settles in the kuti, stays in the close vicinity of his habitat wherever he used to live, but not within the comfort zone of family. Bahudaka is where he goes further up. He's trying to go to another place completely. So slowly, the renunciation is intensified. Right from Vanaprastha, it is intensified. And Parivrajagacharya are those who keep traveling between different places, stay in a place for 3 days, move on to the place. They does not choose to have one particular place. And Paramahamsas are oblivious to any of these things. They are completely transcendental to all the activities that are happening in this material world. So, but what to speak of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Krishna himself. So, at the same time, because he was a sannyasi, he wanted to set an example. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed his desire to everyone that he would like to travel to South India. And just 1 second, I have somebody's at the door, just 1 second. Sorry, someone was at the door. Nobody's at home, so I had to attend. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose to go down to south, and everybody had a big concern because association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already become life and soul for the people out there. They couldn't imagine of a life without Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So everybody expressed Mahaprabhu that first they said don't go. Then they said we will also come wherever you go. Then Mahaprabhu said, wait a minute, let's look at the practicalities. I am a sannyasi and some of you are all grahastas, you have your own family. You'll bring your wife, you'll bring all the arrangements. The travel is going to become really, really intense. And I am going for a preaching mission. So let me go on my own. So then Nityananda Prabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they all had a meeting. And they said that please at least accept a servant to travel with you so that he can assist, cook for you, clean your clothes, make your bed. So Mahaprabhu said that I am moved by your love. I will accept this offer. And Kala Krishnadas was chosen to be Mahaprabhu's personal servant. So to cut the long story short, Mahaprabhu took the permission of all his associates, especially Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made a specific request to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that during the journey of South India, that Mahaprabhu meet Ramananda Rai. So Mahaprabhu went to South India Yatra. It's a long story by itself. I guess one of the earlier sessions in Parthasarathy Foundation itself, we had a conversation about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Dakshin Bharat Yatra. Whilst we didn't finish everything, but at least we dealt on that. So now the continuation is Mahaprabhu went all the way down. Then while returning back, he came once again to Godavari river on the banks and met Ramananda Rai. By this time, Ramananda Rai has already become an ardent follower, devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and chose to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the rest of his life. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he met Ramananda Rai, they had a wonderful exchange, and Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai spoke all night. And Ramananda Rai told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that based on our conversation, I took permission from the king Prataparudra, and he has agreed for me to be relocated to Jagannath Puri. So it was King Prataparudra's desire or approval that let Ramananda Rai come to Jagannath Puri, stay with Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, that's one of the reasons why I came back. Chalo, pack up, come with me. Ramananda Rai said that, no, Mahaprabhu, you proceed. because I am a government servant. When I leave, Hathi Goda sab mere saath chalti hai, and it will really be, awkward for you. You proceed, I will join you. Because what was arrangement was a little background story. When Mahaprabhu left for South India, Prataprudra called Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to his quarters. King Prataprudra said, "My dear sir, I heard a very great, wonderful personality by the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya is residing in Jagannath Puri, and I have heard about his glories from several people, and I would like to have an audience with him. Can you please arrange?" So what happened was, Prataprudra is not like a regular politician, diplomats that we know of nowadays. He was a very humble and very devoted king. So he expressed his desire and he heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we will come back to this part in a bit. So what happened was, when he heard of Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conversation earlier, and when Ramananda Rai made a request, King Prataparudra gave a free sanction that Ramananda Rai need not perform governor duties, because Ramananda Rai was governor of Prataparudra for a specific region. He said that he need not perform those duties. At the same time, he will have all the privileges. He will have government quarters, he will have pensions, he will have servants, he will have all the facilities that he has been receiving. Using those facilities, he can freely serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That was so that was like it is like we are asked to receive salaries and perks and not report to work and just go to temple and do service. That's the kind of facility that Ramananda Rai was given, just because King Prataprudra wanted to somehow participate, support Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So a king should lead by example. A king is the one who is supposed to uphold righteousness and facilitate for spirituality. Otherwise, the whole society will get completely misled. Rajar doshe rajya nashta, inni doshe grihastha nashta. So the Prabhupada says, if the king is having a duplicit or a bad consciousness, rajya nashta, the entire rajya, the entire praja or citizens will definitely get misguided or misled. And ginni doshe grihastha nashta, the grihini, the leading lady of the house, if she is of a bad character, then the family is definitely doomed. So Prataparudra led by example, and he already accepted Ramananda Rai to come. So when Ramananda Rai expressed to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that the king has accepted, Mahaprabhu was very happy. So then Mahaprabhu proceeded towards Alarnath, and he had asked Nityananda Prabhu and others to come and meet him. So they all were very, very happy to receive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to Jagannath Puri. And at the news of Mahaprabhu's arrival at Jagannath Puri, several members came to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house and they wanted to fix up an appointment. So everybody said that please arrange a meeting for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please arrange a meeting for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in that queue, Prataparudra was also there. So what happened was, how did Prataparudra develop this affection for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Number one, he heard about the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his glories. Number two, he witnessed by himself the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because from his quarters, he can see Mahaprabhu's movements. He could see Mahaprabhu's, glowing body. He could see Mahaprabhu's ecstatic moods and his behavior. And number three, he has been performing some indirect services to the assistance of Mahaprabhu. So together, all put together, he developed desire to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and take some more personal association of him. So several people gave a request to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and said that please allow us to meet. So when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got the request from Prataparudra, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "My dear king, I am happy to know that you are inclined to see and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he is Swarat, he is independent. He is the Supreme Lord himself. I cannot control him, dictate him. He is right now traveled to South India. So he is very soon going to come back. When he comes back, I will definitely put your request. But based on what I know, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not wish to see anyone who are dealing with worldly affairs. He has got a very strict sannyas vows. I've never seen him meeting ladies as well as professionals or those who are commercially, involved. So all I can do is just request him. Rest is his reciprocation. But definitely you can participate in his service by arranging a very nice house for him to stay. In that way, you will get his mercy and you will be eligible eventually to see him." So Prataparudra immediately proposed that Mahaprabhu daily comes to the temple. So why don't you give Kashi Mishra's house for Mahaprabhu to stay? So everybody called Kashi Mishra. So King Prataparudra, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they both discussed with Kashi Mishra, and Kashi Mishra, with all jubilation, with all happiness, accepted the offer of Prataparudra to have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu living with him. So from Alarnath, Nityananda Prabhu and all the other associates brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A huge crowd thronged in and they were jumping up and down, glorifying, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, and they received Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya mentioned that, "My dear sir, your stay has been arranged at Kashi Mishra's house." So Mahaprabhu said, "My body and soul belongs to you all. Wherever you allow me to stay, I will stay." And he visited Kashi Mishra's house. In Kashi Mishra's house, they all confirmed if the stay was okay and this place is fine. And Mahaprabhu was very happy. And that's when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya opened up the list of people who were waiting to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there was a huge queue. So it was a duty of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to introduce each and every one of them. So he brought one after the other. He said, "My dear Mahaprabhu, all these people who are waiting outside, they have been crying for your association. They have been like how a Chataka birds were thirsty for water. Similarly, these all people, they are crying for your association. Please bestow your special mercy upon them." So he called one after the other. He said, "My dear Mahaprabhu, This is Janardana, who regularly performs Lord Jagannath's service of fixing him after the Snana Yatra before Rath Yatra. This is Sikhi Mahiti, who is the one who regularly writes the Panchanga, the Panchika that they write in Jagannath Puridham. So this is Pradyumna Mishra, the chief of all the Vaishnavas and a very great servant of Lord Jagannath. And this is Murari Mahiti, the brother of Sikhi Mahiti. So he kept on introducing one after the other, after the other, after the other. So Mahaprabhu looked at all of them and gave his special blessings. So that's when the father of Ramananda Rai came. His name is Bhavananda Rai. So Bhavananda Rai came, and along with his sons, he came. And as soon as Mahaprabhu heard that he is father of Ramananda Rai, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately said that you are a very fortunate father to have a wonderful son. The glories of a person who has a jewel of a son like Ramananda Rai cannot be described within this mortal world. In fact, you are like Maharaja Pandu himself, and your wife is directly Kunti Devi, and your highly intelligent sons are representatives of 5 Pandavas. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received them. I am giving these descriptions, details, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a very, very personality of Godhead. He has been, during the manifested Leela, performed a personal care, love, exhibited them towards all his associates, and he is still giving them out in the form of, engaging us in the Sankirtan mission and allowing us to be part of it. So when all these things were going on, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having his happy times there. So I'm just fast forwarding to just get into the context of Prataparudra's, story, where King Prataparudra already started preparing for the Rath Yatra. Generally, the Rath Yatra preparation starts 3-4 months before. So the Rath Yatra preparation began, and it was a custom that during the Rath Yatra, all the people of Bengal, they arrived to Jagannath Puri. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya remembered the request of King Prataparudra for a personal audience. So he had once went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and asked that, my dear Mahaprabhu, King Prataparudra wanted to have an audience with you. Would you please give your appointment? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu straightforwardly rejected, saying that I will not meet anyone who is dealing with worldly affairs, and it is not befitting to me as a sannyasi, so don't even come to me with such a proposal. In the meanwhile, Kala Krishnadas, with whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very upset and did not want to take further responsibility because during the South India Yatra, he had not looked after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's needs as expected. So Nityananda Prabhu wanted to give his mercy to him and not to anguish Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he had served Kala Krishnadas. He had sent him to Navadvip Dham with a message saying that Mahaprabhu has come back from South India. So that Advaitacharya, Sachimata, Srivas Thakur, and several others would come to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what happened was, when the news reached that Mahaprabhu has arrived and Jagannath Rath Yatra is going to come, thousands and thousands and thousands of people started coming from Bengal towards Jagannath Puri, both to Sri Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well as to participate in Jagannath Rath Yatra. And King Prataparudra, out of his kindness and service attitude, he declared to everyone, saying that anyone who is coming to participate in Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, I will give them free stay, free prasadam, and they will be my personal guest. So he has told his servants to look after them very, very personally and comfortably, give them comfortable stay. And Mahaprabhu was very happy to see the people of Navadvip coming to see. And whenever they come, they bring in huge quantities of prasadam. Each of them bring them. But the prasadam from Raghava Pandita's house is very special and unique for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what happened was, this is when the intense request from Prataparudra started. So when Prataparudra once again went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saying that, please allow me to have an audience with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he was seeing how several devotees are coming, dancing in ecstasy, singing, glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was expressing his love and care towards all the devotees. So he also wanted to have that personal association with him. So he requested, please. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya once again went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and asked him, he said, I cannot meet him, don't force me. If it's possible, if it's okay, I will meet King Prataparudra's son. It is to be understood that if the son receives the blessings, the father also gets the same blessings. So the son represents the father. So I'm ready to meet his son, but not him, because he's directly dealing with worldly affairs. So King Prataparudra was at least happy enough to know that his son is going to get an audience with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met King Prataparudra's son and gave him special blessings. And King Prataparudra, when he got this, was extremely happy. So Rath Yatra preparation was going on, in a very intense capacity. So this time, King Prataparudra thought that he will make further more requests. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prataparudra went to Nityananda Prabhu. They said, probably if Nityananda Prabhu recommends, if Nityananda Prabhu says, probably Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would agree to meet King Prataparudra. So they went to Nityananda Prabhu and requested Nityananda Prabhu to, go and make a request to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about Prataparudra's meeting. And when Nityananda Prabhu went and told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a bit upset. He said that if you guys are going to pester me on this agenda again and again, I have told repeatedly that I am not interested in meeting a person with worldly affairs. If you are going to pester me again and again, I might as well leave all Jagannath Puri and go somewhere in a very, angry or kind of an upset, state of mind. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responded and said that I will not meet him. So day by day, intensity of King Prataparudra increased, and he felt disqualified, he felt low, he felt humbled. Actually, he felt very dejected that he's not getting an audience with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Rath Yatra started, and whilst everybody is happy, everybody is jumping, there were groups of devotees who were around Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they had a wonderful kirtan going on. Everybody is dancing. But one person who is very upset or who is very morose, in spite of all the wonderful services that he has done, including grooming the Lord, including grooming the streets for the Lord, Prataprudra was very upset. So when the Kirtan was going on, suddenly Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was also in the Kirtan, called King Prataprudra and said something in his ears. So nobody knew what was told in his ears, and Prataprudra left the scene. And Rath Yatra further went, and the Lord, as Srimati Radharani would long for Krishna, as gopis who are feeling separation from Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exhibiting the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he is looking at Lord Jagannath, who is Shyama Sundara. So they were having a very interesting bonding there. And he was dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing in so much ecstasy. It is explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was dancing in ecstatic kirtan, the tears from his eyes, they were flowing like a river, and because of his swirling and dancing, the tears from his eyes, the tears would go and prick on everyone's as like an arrow, and everybody were inundated with both love as well as his personal the tears of the Lord drenched the associates or those who are dancing with him. Finally, the Rath reached Gundicha temple, and the Lord was so tired. When he was so tired, he went and lied down near the in the garden in the Gundicha temple. He was just lying down. That's when a person in dhoti and kurta, he personally came closer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu near his lotus feet and started massaging his lotus feet. Mahaprabhu is lying down, closing his eyes, completely, maxed out or completely in ecstasy after dancing in the kirtan for several hours together. So this person, whilst massaging Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, he started singing the songs from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very important, interesting context from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is about the songs of gopis. So, Prataprudra, he started singing Avakatamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiridhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Bhurida Jana. He was singing this, and when he sung this, Mahaprabhu, he is lying down, he is shouting, who is that person who is coming and delivering such a wonderful message? This message, Bhuvi Grinantiye Bhurida Jana. Who is that? Bhurida means the most fortunate. Bhuvi Grinantiye means in this entire universe, who is that fortunate person? Who is able to, associate, who is able to serve, who is able to glorify Tava Katamritam. And when Prataprudra, at that time, he was in a dress, completely relinquishing of all his kingly, attire. He was in a simple dhoti kurta. Then Mahaprabhu immediately got up and he said, you are the one, you are a very merciful person. You are so merciful. You have come and delivered such a wonderful message. What am I going to do? What am I going to give you as a gift in return? So he very tightly embraced King Prataprudra without even knowing that it was King Prataprudra. Eventually, he realized it was Prataprudra, but then this entire storyline, we have a lot more to even cover up, but I want to consolidate the lessons of how Prataprudra got this audience. Because Lava Matra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhi Hoy, we have several times heard. But if you see in the sequence of episodes that happened, there are 4 things that are supposed to be taken note of, which made this audience of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu possible with Prataprudra. It may be seen as Prataprudra just having an audience. What's the big deal? But it is explained that anyone who got the touch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyone who got the personal audience of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they had been blessed with Krishna Prem. When Mahaprabhu traveled all over South India, whoever embraced, touched, and came in contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of them, they got, blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so much so that they became transcendental and started shouting and dancing in ecstasy. So, 4 things that happened in Prataparudra's life that gave him the audience of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And those 4 things, if we also follow, we will also get audience one-on-one with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Number 1, what did Prataparudra, do was he heard about Mahaprabhu's glories from a bona fide source. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but regularly. Because of him regularly hearing about Mahaprabhu's glories from Mahaprabhu's servants, he developed the desire to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to associate with him. So, one obvious reason what qualified Prataparudra was that. Number 2, after he heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories, he offered services to Mahaprabhu as well as his mission, as well as his associates. So, the service that he rendered without anything in return, his request to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was never associated with the services. He never said that I am doing so much of service, so I should have an audience. He never said that. He said that he kept on serving not only Mahaprabhu personally through his official arrangements, but he gave facilitation to Ramananda Rai. He made arrangements in Kashi Mishra's house for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay. He took care of all the visitors from Navadvip Dham. He made sure all the wonderful facilitations are done for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the services that he rendered unconditionally. Number 3, his desperate, explicit, request in feeling of separation to meet the Lord. So his feeling of attachment as well as feeling of separation, as well as his eagerness, he expressed not once, not twice, not thrice. He kept on trying, because it is explained that it was not a formality that Prataparudra wanted to have an audience. He really wanted to become the student and servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So hence he expressed his heartfelt desire not once, not twice, not thrice, but unlimited times. Even after knowing his request was rejected, he relinquished his so-called kingly rights, kingly power, authority, and he accepted simplicity, accepted this rejection, and kept on pleading like a sincere servant. And last but not least, the message that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told King Prataparudra in his ears, that was, relinquish your upadi sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paratyena nirmalam krishikesa sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So when he was having his kingly dress, mukut, and all the other abhushanas, even though in his heart he was very clean, Mahaprabhu wanted to demonstrate that for us to get an audience, those smallest upadis, attachments, or identifications should also be relinquished. Then only a person can get eligible to get the mercy of the Lord. It was not that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was rude not to meet Prataprudra. It was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to demonstrate that for us to get an audience with the Lord, we will have to get rid of all the upadis. So when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told that if you go as a simple mendicant, as a simple servant, without any extra quotient of you being a king, and serve the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will have an audience. So that was a secret formula which Prataprudra immediately imbibed, which gave Prataprudra audience with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these four things are applicable even in our own lives. If we do these four things, audience with Krishna is assured, and several Shastras confirm this. So what are the four things? Number one, Shravanam. Number two, Seva. Number three, desire and feeling like a servant, or becoming a servant, and try to hold straw between our teeth and try to become a menial one, does not have any conditions around our devotional service. Unconditionally, in a simple frame of mind to serve. And finally, relinquishing our quotients of I am CEO, rich, Brahmana, Indian, qualified, initiated, second initiated, fifth initiated, whatever that, all those quotients we relinquish. And when we relinquish all of them and hear from the bona fide devotees, serve the Supreme Lord and remain humble and patient, we will definitely have an audience with Supreme Lord. And the audience with the Supreme Lord means we are inducted into the mission of the Supreme Lord. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are having these opportunities to associate and serve the Supreme Lord, and hence we should not lose this opportunity. So the way Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally reciprocated with each and everyone, Lord Jagannath also reciprocates with each and every one. One of the reasons the form of Jagannath is highly glorified is about the mood of Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath is in that form where he has already got into ecstasy of his own pastimes. He got into the mood of, a Vrajavasi, Krishna hearing his own pastimes, gone to ecstasy. So he is in such a frame of mind like a madman, profusely giving up so much of wealth. It is like explaining a king who got intoxicated, ordered the minister to open the treasure house and declared a message to the entire citizens to say, whoever wants to loot as much as they want from the treasury can come and take. So even though it may sound absurd, but the king's order is the king's order, and it is genuine. Look at others, they are taking this mercy. So yes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing something which is unusual, which is rare, which is given to those who are only very highly qualified. He is giving to each and every one. Why? We don't know. For sure he is intoxicated. And let's not analyze why I am getting this. Let's grab it and be part of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission and deliver ourselves from the cycle of birth and death and deliver others from the same and eventually make it to the spiritual abode. So this Sankirtan mission started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is still going on. So by we being part of the Sankirtan mission, we are definitely going to be the recipient of Mahaprabhu's mercy. Srila Prabhupada and his followers have definitely given that mercy, have funneled his mercy to us so that we can take advantage and eventually rescue us from the trap. So I would like to definitely seek each and every one of your blessings to be part of the Sankirtan mission and to eventually acquire these four qualities that we learned from Pratap Rudra's episode, which will help us to eventually get audience to the Supreme Lord. So I would like to stop here and take up if there are any questions or comments in this connection of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's meeting Pratap Rudra. Shri Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
His Grace Ramgirdhari Pṛ ki jai. Prabhuji, wonderful lecture, wonderful class, and you have given the very nice pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita regarding Pratap Rudra episode. And especially the sum and substance is that the four quality or four qualifications that devotee needs to develop, cultivate, for our in our sadhana process is such a nice. So, dear devotees, this is a take-home lesson for us. Let us thank Ramgirdhari Prabhuji with Hare Krishna Mahamantra again, and then we'll take questions from you related to this episode today that Prabhuji has described. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you again, Ramgirdhari Prabhuji. And now I will open up the forum for questions from the devotees. Please raise your hand, and I will request Mataji, please take the questions from the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much Prabhuji for a very, very nectarian class. Thank you so much Prabhuji. We request in front of you, whenever you get a chance Prabhuji, please come to Parsarthi Foundation and encourage to develop our Krishna consciousness Prabhuji frequently. Thank you so much Prabhuji once again. I request to everyone, if you have any question, any realization, just unmute yourself and feel free to ask to Prabhuji. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. If anybody have any question, any realization, any anumodan, Sanjay Prabhuji, आप unmute कर सकते हैं. Hare Krishna. Please unmute yourself, Sanjay Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Ramgirdhari Pṛ. Good to see you. Jai. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for very nectarian class. Really, you culminated those the class into those four qualities. Very wonderful. Especially the third one. Which is utter humility, which is natural humility of Maharaj Pratap Rudra. That's it's just not anything theoretical. It's very, very deep substance. We hope and pray that we can walk on that path eventually. I really appreciate your wonderful realization, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, what you mentioned is absolutely correct, because just we being normal engineers or whatever professionals in the corporate, we come up with so much of baggage. In the temple, if somebody says, hey Prabhu, go and stand in the queue, we get offended. I mean, even a very smallest gesture of challenging our devotion, challenging our participation, we get offended. At least I get offended for sure. So King Pratap Rudra did so much to everyone. Mahaprabhu was simply denied, and he didn't take offense, and rather he said, I'll go more humble. So amazing, it's very nice. Thank you for pointing that out, Prabhu. Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
If there are no questions, I would like to end this session with a small song called Jaya Jaya Jagannath Sachidanandan. It's a very famous one, small one, will take 3 minutes.
Sure.
If there are questions, we'll take that up. Otherwise, we will end it with that song, which glorifies how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna as well as he is the same Jagannath.
Yes, Prabhuji. Sunaiye, bhajan sunaiye.
Okay, looks like there are no other questions, so let's just sing that song.
Yeah, conclude with your song.
I'm sorry? You're muted, Prabhu.
Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, we can conclude the meeting with your bhajan that you're going to sing.
Okay. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachirananda Bhuvane Kore Jar Sharanavandhan. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachirananda Bhuvane Kore Jar Sharanavandhan. Neelachale Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadar Nadiya Nagare Danda Kamandalukar Neelachale Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadar Nadiya Nagare Danda Kamandalukar के हो बोले पूरा बे रावण पदिला गोलोकेर वैभव लीला प्रकाश कोरिला के हो बोले पूरा बे रावण पदिला गोलोकेर वैभव लीला प्रकाश कोरिला श्री राधा बाबेरे बे गौरवतार हरे कृष्ण नाम गौरा कोरिला प्रकार श्री राधा बाबेरे बे गौरवतार हरे कृष्ण नाम गौरा कोरिला प्रचार वासुदेव घोष बोले कोरी जोड़हार जय गौर से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ वासुदेव घोष बोले कोरी जोड़हार जय गौर से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ जय गौर से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रमा जय सुदर्शना जय गौरनिताय गौरानिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरानिताय जय राधा नील माधव राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा
Very wonderful, wonderful. Very nice.
Amazing.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
His Grace Ramgirdhari Prabhu ki.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki.
Jai.
Prabhupada Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta ki.
Jai.
Ho.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Thank you.